the leaders, the political figureheads, planetary governors, including Severan himself, are obviously afraid of repercussions of not penalty, of punishment that will be given to them.
Could be executed en masse.
Yes. Yes, they would be. And when facing the prospect of certain death, it's no surprise for him that no attempt at surrender was given. Because if they lose the war, they are dead. If they are surrendered, they are also dead.
And yeah.
And yeah.
And if they continue to be pressured, then they have demons.
Oh
yeah.
He fucking sounded very convincing.
Jesus.
The second role is not for him. It's not for him. It's not for Benjamin. Caden appears for a deep thought and like he raises a hand so that basically you get the feeling that for now as he's thinking you are not allowed to speak. There's like not tension but that specific
silence in the court.
Yeah, like there's silence in the court. And It like hums for a moment. Let's say I would not be Lord Inquisitor for such a long time if I didn't have head for certain ideas. But before that, Moriana, Xantis, how did you imagine your idea going through?
Oh dear. I wonder if you want the honest appraisal of that.
Do you say that in character?
Does he? Actually, I guess he does. That does seem like a very Xanthus thing to do, especially since Caden is already aware of Xanthus's very odd sense of humor, since he is
and
his Inquisitor.
like Caden, just tiniest hint of chuckle. You, Xanthus, my interrogator, you have already stepped over so many lines that would get you killed by Puritans that one more in this room will not matter. Speak honestly. I expect only, and yeah, I expect that.
Well, what's one more execution-worthy phrase coming out of my mouth? The honest opinion, I believe that you are my Inquisitor. You know my more radical persuasion too well, and you bore with it. So I imagined that you wouldn't kill us outright. I didn't know whether you would be supportive of the idea or not. However, I figured that you would give an ear to it and consider it, run it through the vast labyrinth that is your mind, and give us an answer as to whether you would give support or order us to forget the words we have said today. So in other words, I figured we would walk out alive, but whether we would walk out with our idea approved or rejected, that was on the edge of a blade, so to speak.
You have my sympathies, Xanthus, but you must be aware that support in this case means informal. I might hold a lot of influence, yet there are some things that if put into the open, a lot will not simply digest it.
In my mind, support simply means whether we have your approval, shall we say, whether we get the nod or not.
Am I gonna stop you from executing that plan? No. Consider this a test. If you want this to be your challenge, then so be it. But also, know this. It is a challenge, and don't expect me to be your final trump card, so to speak. If you fail, if attention is brought onto this and you fall under scrutiny,
Then
you are honest with me, I will be honest with you. I will not aid you. As the old Terran saying goes, you would be thrown under the bus.
What's a bus? Anyway,
Run out transport.
I understand, my lord. To be fair, that does not surprise me at all. After all, we are your throne agents. Isn't this more or less our everyday? A challenge?
Indeed it is. Besides, I don't want to deal with headache of another purge, potential civil war, and assassin temples revolting and sending assassins after my head. And it's barely noticeable, but yeah, you hear like he's like saying half seriously.
My lord, could any of them even find your head?
Alexis could.
Well, it would be interesting to see different assassins fighting with one another, because as you might have guessed, I have some, not
Also, an
many.
Inquisitor Lord in Rebellion. I think they probably send up this one. Or kill team, that's
Anyway. But I mostly ask about, should you get out of this room alive and proceed, how do you imagine establishing a peace between Sever and Dominate at Imperium?
That
Mariana?
is something we're going to have to discuss in depth with Benjamin. First, she looks towards him again. We'll need to be more learned about how the Dominate works, the insides, the government, and from there, devise a plan in which, we'll be able to manipulate. Yeah, would she say? Yeah, the threads of fate and put an end to this conflict.
I can, he like, if I may, Lord Inquisitor, like he allows, and then like, you have time, so he gives a very short condensed version, like 20 minutes, and he explains properly how it works, or how it works, and
Exactly.
and he's pretty sure that it works still, and then Caden like looks at all of you and says, well, or rather, he does. There are several issues that can be overcome, several that might not be overcome.
Oh, I've actually
As much as I think that Senate could have been persuaded to pardon some of the planetary governors, put them into house arrest, but you know the drill. Them being not the figurehead of rebellion, but under no circumstances Senate would digest Severan himself being able to live. And yes, I am aware that should somebody came after his head, he would do something rash, stupid, but also resulting in millions of deaths and potentially destabilizing peripheral situation even more. And yeah, that's basically, like, you can, with your logic, you think that you know what he's implying. That rebellion has been going for some time.
Fucked if you don't.
No, yeah, that basically rebellion has been happening for some time. Why you think that no assassin managed to kill him yet? Or maybe why they didn't attempt it to?
Because if we kill him, that's just going to make shit worse.
That's the
Throw the
thing.
entire situation into chaos.
That's the thing with fuck. Besides, maybe there were some assassination attempts, but not too successful. So now he has doubles, triples. Nobody knows. He's like in his palace under void waves of void shields. But even if you kill him, it might turn out that you didn't really kill him, thus giving him time to unleash to call for aid for Linus powers and unleash horrors upon periphery, not only cold. Although, so that's one thing. Second, Senate will not digest words of ceasefire. They would very happily accept words like unconditional surrender or overwhelming victory. That can be, and I see during the entire time, even though you don't see his face, you get the feeling through his emotion that he's thinking really hard about something, that he's getting ideas.
My lord, if I'm not too presumptuous, that almost looks like your thinking face.
He asks himself a chuckle. Yes. I'm wondering how one of the oldest Inquisition saying can be applied to our situation here. And well, too bad. I hope that either one of you could think about it. But as we said, and then like he stops, looks at Benjamin, and like without words, he like Alava just nods. I am aware not a single word will come from me. And then he continues that we of course all know about perils of the warp, communication, how sometimes our distant worlds don't have contact with rest of Imperium for sometimes hundreds of years. Obviously, information regarding situation at periphery would take some time to get to Senate's ears, and let it be said that the truth can be molded, shaped. And as another old Terran saying goes, history is written by the victors. So,
He sure likes his old Terran sayings.
yeah, he likes to show off that, yeah, by some reason, he has little tiniest bits of knowledge from times old. And then, there are several ways that can be, or rather, I will give you ideas and it will be up to you how you incorporate them. Yet after we're done, I will have like one thing. I don't exactly put time limit on finding that weapon, but it would be what's the proper word? I want to order you directly, but I would prefer if you prioritized my task over situation within Dominate. And then he continues. Well, there are several ways. One idea is you talk with planetary governors of other planets and convince them that they will receive an amnesty from Imperium, so that they will betray Severan and they will show that the people do not stand with him. And if Severan doesn't step down and accept his fate, then they would also see that he's a tyrant who only wanted power and didn't care about sacrifices of his fellow men. The other one, albeit more risky, is to... And basically, just to speed things up, basically the other idea is to somehow talk with them, offer them not an amnesty, but basically fake their deaths / executions. Maybe not planetary governors, but if through one of the planetary governors you manage to convince him to contact with Severan, the proposition that you can throw to him is that obviously he needs to die, but who is to say that it would be real him that dies? With proper technology, High Lords of Terra will probably not be aware of difference. Besides, probably not a single important person would make their way towards Perry. So basically convince him to fake his death, convince him to step down from power, because fake death or not, it has to be made clear to him that he will not remain at power. The price of his continued life in relative safety is to basically step down.
That's too dangerous in more ways than one.
How so?
This is just me saying that out of character.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
and then he...
Oh, actually, no, she'd say in character. The latter option is far too risky. There are too many variables.
What makes you say that, Moriana?
You're saying that Moriana, as in your entire plan, is not risky to begin with.
No, but considering what Chaos had intended for the world, if we push him a little bit overboard, what's to say he does not succumb to the lure of more power? What if he doesn't want to let go and thus will seek power elsewhere? I'm sure you are aware of who I am referring to.
Yes.
Any of the four?
Precisely.
Yet the same scenario will occur wherever you ask him or not.
Yet there would be a lot less collateral with the first. People rebel against him, prove that he himself is a tumor aboard their society. One death or a handful is far more is a far greater prospect than the lives of thousands, if not millions.
I would agree. Same with
would.
Officer Assassinorum, I guess, if they get the chance to kill him. But the thing is, he also might be his own people might push him. The thing is, with him...
Yes, it is better to push one
all the options
a handful of people than the masses.
Perhaps there is a way we can merge the ideas. Let's say let's just say as a scenario, we get the planetary governors to join us to rebel against Duke Severin. When he sees that the web is closing, or rather, when he sees that the noose is closing around his neck, we give him a way out. Offer to fake his death with the threat of imminent rebellion.
Mariana extends one hand out to the left and the other hand to the right. Let me put it in a different perspective. Would you offer, or rather, would you take the hand that would give you nothing, or the hand give you untold powers in that situation.
In truth, I know too much about the Chaos Gods to ever accept such aid, even if the alternative was death.
And
However, I do know
sadly,
what
yes, okay.
I do know what you're getting at. Although I
Caden
posit to you
raises a
that,
hand to like cut off your words.
my lord,
The thing with Severan is that yes, he might be pushed, but those options presented are perhaps slightly less risky. Even without pushing, he might have decided to. Every moment he has a free will to give himself to Chaos Gods. Yet we can. It's logical for me that because he didn't, he is at least aware of price that it will be paid.
and that is why I suggest that we offer him the way out, just when it seems that he's in his darkest hour. Now, if we
to let go of all that power, a man that's been used to it.
Perhaps
all
when
of his
he
life.
sees that not by Imperium, not by orcs, but by his fellow men, he loses that power. Yes, I can see it work. Although it will depend on how convincing he will be.
Benjamin, you've spent a lot of time around the people on Ohm's world. What are their opinion? Do they want this conflict to end? I'm not talking about governors, I'm talking about the people. Populace.
There's one common thing that all the normal people think, that war is hell, and in threats against Xenos, orcs, war against fellow men is even more hell.
You know, there's
Yet they
an old...
fight because, and he also like mentions to Caden that it might be, I don't know if you are aware, Lord Inquisitor, if you saw, pardon my rudeness, but the propaganda has huge success at portraying Severan laws that not only leaders will be put to axe, so to speak, but populace will be purged.
This is probably not helped along by the fact that we are actively killing them by the thousands every day.
It's also not unreasonable assumption. Large swaths of them would be probably put into penal legions at the very least. The Imperium is not kind in these sorts of instances.
What we're saying is simply cut off the head of the snake by getting rid of Duke Severin, and then there's, as we say, we promise the other governors amnesty, and I'm assuming
Well, yeah, but
those
it's...
for their people too.
I mean, the agents, you can do that. How are you going to secure that, though?
I'm sure that
the all day long, but if the High Lords of Terror come in and say, kill, and how do you stop that?
We don't. The war is already over.
Yeah. Also, you're assuming that High Lords of Terra will hear that amnesty was given. That's the thing Caden suggested for, like, give a hint that
true.
The truth is moldable. You can offer them amnesty and it will happen. What Height of Lord Terra, if this plans out goes off, what they will hear is that glorious Imperial forces finally broke the morale of Severan Dominate, and due to situation within the sector, former Dominate forces are being en masse turned into penal legions to be used against fight against the orcs.
I mean, that's technically what they're doing anyway, fighting the orcs. So
no one ever said it had to be expressly true.
Exactly.
And that's what Caden mentioned by saying that the Inquisition has done worse things in the name of Imperium.
So to lessen collateral, do you reckon the people would be susceptible to revolt against Duke Severin?
if they learn about potential way out,
If they, as they say,
if
offered
they
a
learn
way
that
out.
there is an option that doesn't end with their death, then yes.
We would need to perhaps discredit Duke Severin. That would make the process much easier.
I believe
We could always spread the lies that Duke Severin is involved with ruinous powers.
maybe. And like Caden says, although there is other weapon that you can use. We know that, but it's not a common knowledge that he has an alliance with Dark Eldar.
Oh, does he now?
Yep.
Oh, I know that out of character, but I'm not sure if Xanthus would have known that in character.
And
Moriana,
people might
Virus
not
Emperor.
be happy, and like then he looks at Benjamin, and like Benjamin picks up, and I believe people will not be happy. Well, of course, like when he heard, he like raises his eyebrows because that's a news for him, and yes, I can see it. People would not be happy if they heard that Duke is selling their own, basically selling their own people to. I've read
Dark Eldar
just
flavors.
I've just like read the slaver.
Then have him labeled as a heretic that is, I guess, a minion of the god of out of character.
Traitor,
This is more like-
hypocrite.
Traitor, hypocrite. I mean, considering Dark Eldar, Slanesh, hand in hand, he's greedy, he's very... Yeah, it would make sense. His persona sounds like someone that would be a minion of Slanesh. Excessive, indulgent, greedy.
Well,
Power.
I wonder.
I give you ideas. I will leave specifics and execution up to you. And of course, well, for better or worse, good luck in executing that successfully.
Thank
We'll have
you.
to have a talk about out of character. We'll have to have a talk about this at some point, Xanthus.
Yep. This is probably going to be our most interesting project we've done together.
Mm-hmm.
You have to lie out your fucking ass.
I'm about to say this is going to be the most dangerous one too.
So many people.
And
Well,
like before you leave, he also like looks between two of you. Then Benjamin, if you may wait for a moment on the outside. Of course, he like immediately leaves, and then he like looks at you, like his gaze switches between Moriana and Xanthus. Now, I just want to be absolutely sure. Is there anything else you want to talk with me?
Oh shit! You know,
Shit.
actually,
No, shit the bed.
No, we're way past shitting the bed. We're outright fucking the bed right now. Hold on a moment.
Alabama hot pocket in the bed.
So Xanthus, that willpower check was to see if Xanthus like does that little sweat drop thing. We just like
Mariana takes center stage. Actually, she's not scared.
Nah, Xanthus isn't scared either. He's just,
I wouldn't say scared. I mean, she's feeling.
Mhm.
She's not even contemplating not telling him. She
neither
gets
am
up
I.
again.
It's just a matter of
She does this
holy
boldly.
fuck, even know. This should be good. Go ahead.
There is another matter, my lord.
Hmm.
And again, I take full responsibility for this, regardless of what you say, interrogator.
And if it's the
Both
matter
of
I
these
think
were
it
my
is,
both of these were my ideas.
and both of these, or no, he wouldn't say both of these, and the latter that we're about to discuss now is
It was only
credited to me.
only possible thanks to you. Yes, I'm aware.
I appreciate the nobility of your sentiments, but we did it together, so blame or glory to us both. Continue.
Aboard, when we were on the hunt for the map pieces, we were sent to a desolate space hulk. There was orcs fighting traitors, servants of the dark gods. We'd also
Actually-
found that there was a contingency of
Can
Dark
we pause
Eldar.
this for? Can we pause this for about 10 minutes? Because I kind of want to be around for this part. However,
To
that
be
is definitely dinner.
fair, it's 4 a.m. for
Very
me.
late.
Yeah, but it shouldn't take too long, I guess. I just need to say what she's saying.
If you do you mind, I will remember at where we ended, and I'm really sorry for Gabriel that this took so fucking long and he had to like listen and don't do anything for like an hour or so.
It's alright.
But yeah, my
Y'all are
position is
heretics.
because it's kind of late for me, and I kind of
Also, I have dinner downstairs that I've been ignoring.
I
hours.
want to finish this now, and we're gonna pick up next week this and Ignatius Dreams and whatnot.
All right, so we can launch into the most heretical part of it next week then.
Yep.
You say heresy, I say.
Oh
something
no,
else.
I say heresy out of character. In character, Xanthus would just say, it was a smart idea. It was the right choice to make. It was logical, blah, 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 blah.
Disagree.
Okay,
I have-
disagree.
I have no idea what Kay is just